Hey guys, welcome back to the stream. Today I figured I'd go over some of Jake's moveset that I have so far done. Right now I think he's pretty set for the demo that I want to put together. There'll be more moves put in the final version, but right now I think we're in a pretty decent place. Excuse me. To be able to move on to another character here. So we'll start off here, and I'll preview some of the stuff that Jake does. And then we're gonna do rough in some animation for Farouk, another one of the characters. So here's Jake's walk cycle. So he's a walker. We can actually hit. It's running a little slow, but there's the walk. He'll be able to walk. His idle pose. That's here, and we'll go through that again here. So it's just a simple idle where he kind of just bounces up and down. And then we move over to here where we see his first punch that I ever did for him, which is, again, it's running a little slow here, but you can see he's a nice hard right hook here. Like that. The next one is his jump, which I'll pull back a little bit on there so we can see it. Let's see. Let's make some of the other ones disappear here. There's his jump. It jumps up and jumps back down. Up and down. And up and down. We'll make that one disappear so we can look at this one a little bit better. Here's a jump kick we have for him. So it's basically the jump, but with a extra kick here. Just up and kick. Kick. Again, these are playing a little bit slow, just due to all the stuff that I have open, but you get the gist of how things are going here. Now up here, oh, that's his walk. There we go. Here is his knockout animation. So when his health is depleted all the way and you basically lose a life here, he'll take a hard hit, bounce off the ground a couple times, some blood flying out. Bam. Then he'll blink and you can respawn. But that's his death animation. And then here is his left jab. So this kind of just repeats itself. So you'll be left, 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 left. They'll randomize between the left punch and the right punch when you're using the punches. So usually a couple jabs and then a hook, and then hopefully I'll be able to work in like uppercuts and stuff like that with him. And I have his hit animation as well. Oh, it's on the same one as this one. So if we watch over here, this is his hit animation. Oof. 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 So there's the basic animations that I have for him. So right now that's the basics what I have for him. I still have to do like a run dash, excuse me, a run dash animation and stuff like that. But for right now we're gonna leave him as is. There's some design elements I want to change. Like I want to square up the hands a little bit, and edge them up a little bit more. They're a little too rounded now. But other than that, I think we're pretty good for right now. And then when I go into polish, I'll probably bounce his hair a little bit when stuff happens, stuff like that. But that's a bit down the line. So that's that file, and I do not need to save that. All right, so now we're gonna move into Farouk, and I want to work on his right punch. So he's kind of like the bigger. He's the big brute, professional wrestler type guy. So he's going to be the heavy hitter. He'll be a little slower, but more powerful with his punches. So his punches, I'm gonna kind of try and arc, so it kind of comes down. So basically, I want his hand will start here. I'm gonna change that color so I can tell better. So I've got, that's where his hand starts. I kind of want to hook it. So he does one of those things and then lands the punch somewhere in this region here. So I'm gonna need to slowly kind of bring his hand up a little bit around here before he brings it down. And of course we'll have like an extension before he brings it back to about there. Pull it back a little bit like that. So that's the basic arc. His hand will kind of cover as it reaches out and takes a hook down. So there's that. Got my arc. So I'm going to lock that layer, make a new layer. I'm actually going to group this next layer just because it's easier for me to do that. I'm bumping it on my microphone here. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this area here where he's going to be doing the punch. So I'm going to concentrate on the arm for right now. Different arm poses. Obviously we have his set pose here where it's just, there's the arm shape. We'll go out. I'm going to actually extend these out. And so I know that I want another one of his hands to kind of be like this. So the shoulder's kind of the same. The arm is mostly going to be hidden back behind because he's pulling it in as he pulls it up. Excuse me. So we've got the hand pulled up more. And I can move forward 2 more. This is where I should have onion skin. There we go. I'll do one of these. Alright. He will probably pull up and rest for a second before the arm really starts to kind of blur down through here. So I've got his shoulder here, but I have to have the arm. And as you saw with the Jake, the Jake animations, it's kind of a blur as they come flying through here. So this is kind of going to be a little bit of a mess, but more streamlined as he's punching through. Let's see if I can't. So the back of his torso would be like that. So his extension of this punch should be something like that. So that's kind of where we're going to end up with that. So it just so it kind of pulls it up. It's more of a round overhead shot. And then we kind of do one of these. I'd like to do this with my roughs just because it reminds me that I should be doing it overall. Kind of stretch that out a little bit before pulling it back to this one. So he kind of extends it. Boom. 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 So if we kind of take our time, like bringing it up here and then just really swooping down on that. So I could even do one of these. This one there, so that's only one frame, so he's like kind of pause. But continually moving, like even here to here, as I would probably do one of these things where I'm still moving it a little bit throughout, so still it's a constant motion. That's playing again. That's playing kind of slow, just because of everything I have. But there's like the punch. That's just the one arm for right now. I don't do that anymore. So I can actually make that go away. That's playing at about half speed. So really actually. So that's that. As he swings, I'll probably pull this arm in a little bit more and maybe shift his body a little bit forward. I kind of thought about doing the whole wrestling stomp when he punches, but that might be a little too much. Especially for right now. Maybe back in polish, right before, like when I'm cleaning everything up and making sure everything's all good and looking nice, I'll go back in and add a few frames and shift some things around. But right now, I think just the punch is fine. I think that's a pretty good, and that's about, and then if here, actually, I'll have a swoop over top of it as well. So when we do, I'll add it real quick, just from here, I will have kind of a, I'll actually turn the opacity down. So there's the previous one, there's the new one, so I'm gonna I'll have that nice swoopy blur going through. Yeah. And you go from here down to here. And this one, we kind of really pull those down. So now we got the And that'll be the color of his skin, so it'll look like a nice blur of his arm coming down to rain that down on you. So, and that's just a visual representation. Like I said, like you saw in the Jake, it's a lot blurrier and kind of more realistic looking. Just the style that I want to use for it. So I'm going to save this right now. I probably should be naming my layers, but I hardly ever do it when I'm working for myself, just because it's easier that way. I can actually make this transparent. There we go. That way it's still there. I can still see the arc. All right. Let's see. So now what I will actually do is go to the first new keyframe, and I'll go into, I'll unlock him, and I'll go into him, and I'll go here. Give him a second keyframe. Now I might be able to get away with playing a bit with just bringing this arm up. So I'm moving to, gotta go all the way out. This one. Hide his head for a minute. Just so I can get a better look at that arm, the way that I sketched it out. So Kind of working in silence here. I don't mean to stay completely quiet, but sometimes I just get working. I should probably change the color of these so I can see them better. There we go. I think that's pretty good. So I'm gonna grab that color, that color. So this is only on screen for like one frame, so you're really actually probably not even going to notice if it's a little wonky of a design here. So what I do with these, like I'm used to using Clip Studio Paint to do most of my illustration work, which allows you to overlap a lot. So I have the tendency to overlap, and then it's got a really nice eraser that I can just go in and erase the overlap parts. Animate doesn't have that, but if I go ahead and I grab the parts that overlap and cut them off, as long as they've got just an even two corners, I can kind of manipulate those corners and make them look the way I want them to look. So I'll color that in. Switch that up again. And he's got those wristbands on, so again, this doesn't have to be the best looking hand, which it's not. I'm actually going to manipulate that a little bit more. And it's actually showing you how the thing's all screwed up anyway. So, I mean, not what I meant to do. So if I, kind of do one of these, it's probably better. I'm going to make it a little smaller than that. I actually like that better. It's not exactly what I want, but again, one frame and it'll be covered up by a blur. So so then we change this to 3. Move on to there. Here, move to there. I'll actually make the torso go away as well because I lined that up pretty good. The nice thing about this is I could just take all these parts and be like, okay, I can't see what I sketched, so I'm just going to erase all that. And what I'm going to actually do is grab this, copy the frame, and put it here, only because that one was skewed so much, and I don't want that to be the way it is for the next step. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to create another one. Where am I going? I'll grab all of this, and I'm going to redraw all of these parts. I'm actually going to do this and move it out of the way. So, I'm actually going to use the line tool to do it with, because these are simple shapes to be able to recreate with the line tool. I'm going to make sure that my square off our ends and we miter them so we get the correct everything we want. I'll convert this to a fill, just like you saw me do in my, that's not what I want to do. I will convert it to a fill, just like you saw me do when I was setting up the rigs, so I can get my tapered ends here, give it a little bit of a curve on it, just to give it more of that brush stroke look. Save my file, as we should every so often. Change this to a 2. If anybody's watching, feel free to jump into the chat and shoot out questions or say hi. I have it up so I can look at it periodically while I'm trying to draw. So I think it's about right for let's go. I'll do this one too. I don't have to, but I like to. There's that one. And then we'll go into here. And again, I kind of really disliked how this turned out. And I'm going to use the line tool again, because we actually see this on screen for longer. I kind of want the more accurate lines on them. That's actually going to be a stroke there. See, the nice thing about using the line tool is you can just delete those lines as well. And then I'll oval tool for the thumb. I kind of manipulate that to look a little more dumpy. But I can just do, it's too thick. It's better. Again, with the, so that's a good. We'll convert this to a fill. That, and then another oval tool here to get that wristband in there. Wristband. There's his extended arm for the punch. He's visible again. Alright. Here. And then here. And this one, we actually take it and we will stretch it just slightly, angle it down a little bit more, just so it follows that whole arc the same. It kind of separates a little bit. I don't like that. Bump it forward a little bit so you got the whole boom. This still needs to get bumped forward a little. Yeah. So for now, it's not bad. It'll work for right now. Probably tweak a lot of those tweens and get it working a little bit better, but again, it's not playing full speed, so it's playing a little slow. And now normally what I do here, for those blurry, like right here, so this ugly looking fist here, which again, you can't really tell, but I'm going to make another layer. I'm actually going to duplicate this layer, but I'm going to get rid of all these, clear those out. That's not what I meant. Alright, so I've got those 3 frames to work with. Now, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep this, but I'm actually going to change it to, so right here, it's a graphic. I'm going to change it to a movie clip. Nope, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to break it. Then I'm going to make it a movie clip. And it's arm blur 1. And now we add a blur to it. High quality. Break these. And we blur it along the Y, basically 0. And we really do that to it. And we offset it just a little bit. Just so you know which way that arm's going. Break it. arm blur 2. Actually pull the opacity down a little bit on that too. So it's there, but not overwhelmingly there. And this one we're actually going to break. We're going to make this disappear. And this one will be arm blur 3. Blur it. Alright, so that's that arm. And as we bring this arm forward, I'm going to come down and pull the back arm pull that in, pull it back a little bit. Kind of trying to get the feel. See if I can't. Clear keyframe here. It's not bad. Again, it's probably half speed. I think it's playing at about 10 frames a second instead of 24. So it'll actually be quicker. Just have too much stuff open right now to have it go fast enough. But it's not looking too bad. Pretty happy with it so far. It's moving good. Have to move his head some more. Maybe angle his entire torso down a little bit. Or move him. I'll have to recheck the Jake animations to see how he did. I almost want to pull these in a little bit more. Pull that back like that. Yeah, that feels better. So that's a pretty decent first round of animation for his first attack. Probably clean that up a little bit more, finesse it a little bit more, test the speed for it. So another thing I'll do is I can get rid of the sketch layer since there's nothing left on it. There's nothing on that. It's usually where I do all this stuff, but I'll make all this stuff disappear. He is set for single frame. I'll set him to play once. So punch, punch. Alright, and then I will do one of these things. So that is basically the peak of his pullback. So I'm going to put I'm actually going to do this. And then I'll put a frame there. So he's going to pull back this a little bit. So, and then move forward. And at that point, he's the opposite way, leaning a bit. So he kind of leans back and moves the whole body forward a little bit. Kind of a little bit of a cheat there. Right here, I'm going to do another. Oops, actually I'm going to do this. And I'm going to create a classic tween there so he moves. And right here, I'm going to put a new keyframe in. Ever so slightly bring him up. So now the whole body arcs a little bit. And then here, I'll put one here, and I'm gonna classic tween, create a classic tween there too. So he kind of winds back and forward. The whole body kind of goes around now. So now it's got a little bit more impact because his whole body's pulling forward. So that's pretty good looking. I need to do some facial animation on him. I think I have to go in and create some eyelids for him so he can close his eyes, and I'll animate his eyebrows down. He doesn't have much of a mouth, except it's covered up under his mustache there. So, and it's covered up behind his arm anyway, or else I'd have him make kind of a face when he hits. But I'm gonna go in and do that, and but I think that's looking pretty good for a first punch. For his heavy punch, heavy punch, heavy punch. He's going to have a grab. He's going to have a slap. So what he'll do is like he'll punch, and then grab, and then he'll back slap, and then he'll send the enemy across the screen because he's stronger than the other guys. So his hard hits are going to fly across the screen for him. But I think it's a pretty good start with Farouk. It's been about 50 minutes. I'm going to kind of end the stream right now for this. I might stream again later tonight, depending if I get the time. And then I'll go in and I'll do the eyes. So I can have it looking a little bit better, but I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. So if you joined me today, or if you're going to check this out later, I really appreciate it. Otherwise, you know, thanks for joining. Hopefully tomorrow night I will do the first of my late to the party streams where I play some video games for a couple hours and have some fun. So thank you guys very much. Anybody who checks us out, really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you on another stream. Thank you.